I think we're starting to begin a trend when we go to Pocono that ends in a Denny Hamlin type of controversy. Last year, it ended with him and Kyle Busch both DQing, resulting in Chase Elliott getting the win. This year, it results in him putting Kyle Larson to the wall for the second time this season. Now, I'm going to address this first, this whole entire thing. The biggest talking point after this week's race at Pocono, which is the Denny Hamlin versus Kyle Larson dispute. And boy, oh boy, has it been fun to just listen to and see how everybody's been talking about it, because it continues to be talked about, even to today as the day I'm recording this. I wanted to make sure everybody's side of the story was completely heard out, hence why this video did not come out Monday or Tuesday. I wanted to make sure everything was out instead in the open. So now, here's what everybody has said, and here's both sides of the story. If you hadn't seen the clip already, what happened was, on a restart late in the race, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin battling for position, went through turn one, Hamlin drove up the racetrack, made slight contact with Kyle Larson, not major, nothing crazy, didn't just ram as hard as he could into him, but he did make slight contact with Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson did end up hitting the wall. And then a caution came out later that lap. I can't remember who spun out right there. Somebody spun out. Caution came out. Larson then doored Hamlin going back to the front straight away. And that's where everything started to go awry. Larson said after the race he was very big on the fact that Hamlin did hit him and that Hamlin did make contact with him, and said that it just didn't make sense because he doesn't race Denny this way. As he said in the post-race interview, as Kyle Larson said, "I was nervous in the move that happened because he made it work on Ross last year, and he dirtied him up. Ross deserved it last year for all the times that he got into Denny. I felt like I didn't. I deserved to be raced with respect at least through turn one, but he knew that was going to be his only opportunity to beat me with how bad Dirty Air was, so I got used up." So Larson, as he said in that quote right there, felt he was already nervous making the move he made, saying that it happened the same exact way with Ross Chastain a year ago, where Denny got into Ross, as we all remember. He got Ross in the wall and ended Ross's day. But to Kyle Larson's credit, he did say that, hey, Ross deserved that. Larson's counter-argument is he doesn't feel like he deserved that. He also brought up later in the interview that he has been messed out of 2 wins this season by Denny Hamlin. The first time being at Kansas, a race that I was at and I was there for when Denny Hamlin put Kyle Larson into a predicament. But here's the difference between those 2 moves. I feel like the Kansas incident was 100% more of a racing incident. It wasn't on purpose. Hamlin didn't, with purposeful intent, try to do anything to put Larson in a bad situation, and Larson still came home second. Did it end with Hamlin having to put Larson to the wall, though, and Larson ended up in the wall? Yes, it did. I wish they could have just raced their way to the checkered flag and we saw nobody get in the wall, but that's not how it went down. But the difference is, at Pocono, there was a steep difference in everything, saying that Kyle Larson just got put into the wall and there was really no racing involved. There's no amount of changing anything that could have done that. However, here's what Denny Hamlin said in his counter-argument. How can you wreck someone you don't touch? They make a decision to either let off the gas and race side by side or hit the gas and hit the wall. I mean, I put them to those decisions. I didn't overshoot the corner. I was behind them. I tried to position on them. I knew it was going to be tied off of 2, but always made sure I left a lane or more than a lane. So Hamlin's saying that he left a ton of room for Larson and didn't make contact. And he also said that the next day on his Actions Detrimental podcast, saying he still didn't make contact, which he said even after looking at the replays, which I just got to say, Denny, how? How can you say you did not make contact? I have gone through all the footage and everything, and I've checked everything. Sorry, but Denny made contact with Kyle Larson. It was not the most egregious contact, I'll give you that. And this is coming from a Kyle Larson fan. It was not egregious. It wasn't like Hamlin just went and just slammed Larson to the wall. However, Denny Hamlin definitely made contact, and it definitely is the reason Larson went up the track and into the wall. Larson also did admit that, hey, I'm not going to say I've never done this myself. He mentioned this in his podcast the next day, saying, hey, I never say I've done this to anybody myself. And when I do it to somebody else, I expect it back in return. However, we have never done that to Denny Hamlin, the 11 team, and this is the second time they've done it. He also mentioned in his post-race interview that he could have 2 more wins and 10 more playoff points if it was not for the 11 team. So yes, he is pissed. So that's the big controversy. What will come of it? I really don't know. Larson does say he feels like he's going to have to race Denny Hamlin differently at this point because, hey, this is the second time it's happened this year, and Larson hasn't changed how he's racing Denny Hamlin. So does this mean that something has to change where Larson's going to have to do something about this? I guess we'll have to just kind of wait and see what's going to happen. But that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Larson's wanting to do something about this. And I can't really say I blame him. Now, going back to everything else. Yes, Denny Hamlin did go on to win this race, his 50th career win and his 7th win at Pocono. And, good day for Denny Hamlin. He was extremely fast all day. He had a good car. He was up front. Solid race by Denny Hamlin. I do also got to give credit to Kyle Larson. Even though he did finish 20th, he did get spun out early in the race by Christopher Bell in a restart and still found his way based off of strategy to get himself back to the front, which, by the way, I just got to say, I love the strategy we saw at Pocono today. And yet again, it made me realize that the thing is, and I stand by this, I don't hate stages that much as other people. However, what I do hate is the stage cautions. I don't mind stage points and everything. I actually think it's a good system. It rewards people that are consistent throughout a race, and it makes sure they still get points, even if they, let's say, you win the first 2 stages, but that 3rd stage you just got caught up in a thing that you can't control, and just like that, you're out. Like, for example, Joey Logano, stage 1 got a playoff point. He was extremely fast. Looked like a car that could be up for contention for the win. And then on the next ensuing restart, just got caught up in a bad situation in the middle of the pack, got wrecked, and ruined his day. So I'm not against that. But what I am against is stage cautions. And I think it's a huge thing that we have them taken away at road courses because we get to see strategy play out, and it's like traditional NASCAR. I would love to see NASCAR get rid of stage cautions in general, but that is a topic for another day. Other drivers I do want to point out that had good days today. Tyler Reddick was able to come through for a 2nd place finish. I know after all these weeks of him struggling, great day to see Tyler Reddick come home 2nd. Ty Gibbs gets his career best finish of 5th place. A great day for Ty Gibbs. Christopher Bell, who actually spun out earlier in the race on a self-spin to end stage 2, came home 6th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with a 7th place finish. Harrison Burton with an 8th place finish. Eric Jones with a 9th place finish. And yet again, Chase Elliott, despite not being towards the front of the majority of this race, not being really in contention for a win, found his way to 10th place still. And I got to give credit to that number 9 team. They might not run great, as in having the best speed all race or qualify great, but man, does that 9 team know how to still fight their way into top 10s. I don't know what's up with them right now, and I think they need to get a win before the playoffs, because I don't think they can point their way in, but I do got to say, this 9 team is very impressive. Other drivers I will point out, Ross Chastain getting a better finish, still has not broken that top 10 list streak that he has. If you guys haven't seen, Chastain has not had a top 10 since his win at Nashville. So keep an eye for Chastain to hopefully get back into the top 10 column this next week at Richmond. And then other drivers I'll point out, Kyle Busch had a subpar day. Seemed like he just really could never get the car figured out. Came home 21st. Alex Bowman came home 24th. A really bad day for that 48 team, where they actually were running 3rd. And then it looked like they just got loose maybe off the air from Denny Hamlin, and it just spun their car around. And then obviously I mentioned Joey Logano was involved in the incident, and also involved in that incident was Daniel Suarez, who really could not have afforded the incident that happened to him today, where he just got collected in it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 23 of 23 of Bubba got into Suarez, and Suarez went around, nose to the wall, car was done, and that ended the 99's day. So, now that we look at the playoff bubble after this race, I will have to point out, Bubba Wallace extends his bubble up to plus 27. McDowell extends it to plus 17. With now Allmendinger out by 17, Suarez out by 23 after only being in, I'm pretty sure, by 1 or out by 1. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Ty Gibbs out by 28. Bowman out by 46. And Chase Elliott is making progress. He's out by 56 now. So, with that being said, I'll be very interested to see what happens with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson this upcoming week. We are going to Richmond this week, a race that Larson did win earlier this season. and it's going to be fun to see how everything goes down. And now I want to ask you guys a question. What do you guys think of the Pocono race? Do you guys think that Denny Hamlin's move was egregious and that Larson has all the right, or do you think that it's just a big overreaction? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.